of that 12-year-old boy became silent. And Mercy went back and sat on the lid of this ark. Several years later, that voice in adulthood cried out again in the temple. And Mercy leaped and ran to that veil and ran her fingers looking for an opening, wanting to escape into the world to be merciful. But there was no opening. And so Mercy went back and again became seated upon just the lid of this gold box. But then a few years later, some distance outside the city walls, on a hillside, came a voice that cried, "It is finished." And in that temple, suddenly, there was a tearing, there was a ripping, and the veil in the temple was rent in twain from top to bottom, which was a miracle in itself. It couldn't have been torn from the top to the bottom, but it was torn from the top to the bottom. And Mercy leaped through that area and came to that riven veil and ran her fingers along the shredded veil. And the history says that the veil rent, the shreds looked like human flesh hanging. And Mercy leaped through that riven veil and ran into the streets in Jerusalem and found a blood trail and began to follow that blood trail and followed it to the brow of Golgotha. And there, hanging suspended between heaven and earth, was the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. And Mercy ran to him and said, "I plead with you to the very throne of God. Don't ever let me be imprisoned behind a veil on a gold box, but let me ride on the shoulders of men. May I ever be carried on the shoulders of men." And from that time on, Mercy is free in this world, riding on the shoulders of men. Every time you hear a preacher preach, if you look closely on his shoulder, you can see Mercy smiling at you, reaching for you. Mercy got free. That's why we are here today, tonight, as we are. I feel like standing and giving this great God, this Jesus, a standing ovation. That's it.